With so much chatter lately about the Dodge Charger EV, it seems like its internal combustion engine counterpart is getting a bit lost in the sauce. And I want to talk about that variant because that is, if we're all being honest, the platform that we're becoming excited about. These Hurricane inline six engines are proven to be powerful, significantly more so than the V8s that they're replacing, all the while getting better fuel economy numbers and weighing less by about 100 pounds. So does that mean that we could be looking at a very successful replacement for the V8 and the old outgoing LX platform? I don't know about that, so let's dive into it. So talking about the EV only as a reference point, that car weighs 5,800 pounds. Now, the internal combustion engine variant will not weigh as much. There's reports that it could weigh between 1,200 and 1,400 pounds less. And that's a big weight difference, but you have to remember that 5,800 pounds for an EV car is heavy, even by EV standards. But that's irrelevant to this part of the conversation. If you just pull 1,400, let's be optimistic, pounds out of that 5,800, you're left with 4,400 pounds still. And that checks in about 200 plus pounds heavier than the outgoing V8 variant of the LX platform. So already off to a bad start. And part of the reason for that weight gain is the fact that this new Charger is simply a larger car by about 5 inches in length and roughly 2 inches in width. This platform itself grew, it didn't shrink. And for a lot of folks, they were hoping for a smaller, more nimble car. They were looking for something sportier, not something that's grown. But that's beside the point again, too, right? So now we've got a larger, heavier car, but with a more powerful engine. Does that mean we're basically stuck at parity? In other words, the performance isn't really going to be any different. Well, that's yet to be seen, although these new Hurricane engines are producing significantly higher power numbers, whether it's torque or horsepower that you want to focus on. I gotta say that the big difference between the two platforms is going to come in the form of all-wheel drive. You see, the new platform can be run in all-wheel drive form, and that is where the difference is going to lie when it comes to performance. Also, for you guys that like to do interesting hooligan things with your cars, that all-wheel drive feature can be turned off, just running it rear-wheel drive only. So you can still have your fun, but when it comes time to test the acceleration of your brand new Charger, you can do so in all-wheel drive. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that, well, if you've never had the opportunity to experience all-wheel drive in that type of an environment, just pure acceleration, it's significantly more fun because there's no issue about blowing the tires clean off the rims when you have all 4 tires churning away. And with the added weight of this platform, I'm pretty sure it will remain planted. But I guess the point to all of this is, what is it going to cost for whatever it is that I'm getting? I mean, if this new iteration is to be considered better in some way, shape, or form, whether it's performance, comfort, amenities, what have you, it still has to be affordable. And I think this is where most folks are finding themselves to be a little bit torn. You see, this new Charger, at least in EV form, is proving to be significantly more expensive than the rest of its offerings that are out and about. In other words, by its peers, it's considered to be expensive, especially based on the performance that it lays down. So does that mean that the new Charger platform is going to be the same? In other words, are we looking at a situation where a base model Charger, instead of being $40,000, checks in at $60,000? I mean, it's great to have all of these new conveniences and all of these new powerful engines, but if they are unaffordable, is it really worth it? You know, the high output variant of this car is going to check in around 540 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. More than a Scat Pack, certainly. And if in all-wheel drive configuration, in practically all weather will out-accelerate a Scat Pack just based on traction alone. But if this car checks in at $70,000, $75,000-ish, because we just have to look back at the EV to see what its pricing structure looks at, and that's what its Scat Pack variant chimes in at, again, $75,000 to start. That's going to mean that this car has now priced itself clean out of a market that wasn't really asking for it to begin with. Cars like the Mustang, and the Mustang. Yeah, that's pretty much all that's left of the American offerings. Aren't going to be priced at that level until you get into some significantly premium points, like the Dark Horse, for example. But the reality is that you have other imports that are out there, albeit maybe not at the same acceleration level. They're still sporty nonetheless with the Supra and the 400Z out there. So guys, I got to ask, are you a player on this new Charger? For many folks, if you're Mopar, it is Mopar or no car, regardless of whether the thing has a V8 or not. These 6 cylinders are going to be powerful and potent, but at what price point? So post up your comments, let me know what you think about this new car, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.